Today we're continuing with the geometric mean. In this problem number 4, I'm going to show you exactly how to solve for x, y, and z, just using proportions and only using proportions. All right. What I want you to do right now in your journal, I want you to have a little answer box for x, for y, and for z. And we're always going to start with what's called the exact answers. So we'll have exact answers, and then we will have what's called our approximate answers. So our approximate answers to what the distances are. So make sure you have a box set up so as we solve these, you will have a place to put them on your paper. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color some things in. So right now, I want you guys to know that this distance right here, this is the value for x. This is actually the height of this right triangle. Now this right triangle is kind of flipped upside down, but you can clearly see that this 25 right here is the base, and this x is the height, or the altitude. Now there is a shortcut to be able to find that distance. So I'm going to break this into 3 different colors. The distance in blue is going to be 19, because 19 plus 6 is 25. The distance in red is 6. In order to find x, that altitude, you can take the green, or the x value, and square it. And that will always equal the product of the blue distance times the red distance. So green distance squared equals blue times red. That's how you find your geometric mean. You'll notice that this is always the altitude. So I'm going to label that first. So you can write that in your journal. That's the altitude. Is equal to the product of this times this. So right now, go ahead and multiply those together in your calculator or your head. All right? And what is the product of 19 times 6? 114. Now, in order to solve for x, you have to take the square root of both sides, and x equals the square root of 114. This is your exact distance. You cannot simplify this anymore. If the only 2 products are a 19 and a 6, you can't simplify those out of a radical. So right now, I'd like you to go over to your answer box. Right? What was x equal to? The square root of 114. Just write it down, just like that. Now we'll find the approximate answer in our calculator. We'll just take the square root of 114. Press enter, and that gets us 10.7. So right here, all you have to do is write next to this exact answer of the square root of 114, write 10.7. All right, the next thing we're going to do, all right, is we are going to make 3 right triangles out of this picture. There's a small triangle. I'm going to trace it right now. This is the small right triangle. Right here, if you follow the hand, don't talk to it, just follow it. Next, I'm going to trace the median triangle right here. This is kind of the medium-sized triangle right here. And finally, I'm going to trace the largest right triangle, which is this right here, if you follow the hand. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to label them side by side by side. So here we go. I'm going to draw a small little guy. Here we go. Got a little small triangle. Got a medium-sized triangle. And we got a large triangle that are all there. Now these may not be the exact size of the triangle, but we got a small, we got a medium, we got a large. That's what I want you guys to do. And make sure you would please make cool little right angles in the corners so you know these are all right triangles. And then we're going to use these triangles to help us label the sides. So go ahead and draw those out, and we'll go up there and we'll label all the distances so we know exactly what we can compare. Now, the next thing I want you to do, put a little similar sign like between them. Like you know that the small triangle is similar to the medium triangle, which is similar to that larger triangle. So you understand that these are all similar to each other. Small one similar to the medium, just like the small one still similar to the large, okay? Now I'm going to label some sides. Now, does everybody see how this 6 is the shortest side of the small right triangle? So right here, I'm going to label that in red. I'm going to label it, this distance is 6, right there. And then up here, the medium side, what's that distance? That's x, right? So right here, I'm going to go over here, and that medium distance at the middle leg, I'm going to call it as x. And we already know that's equal to what? The square root of 114. Let's put x right there. And then, check out our longest side. Our longest side is the hypotenuse right here, which is y. So I'm going to label that one in a totally different color. I'm going to label it in this purple color, y. Right there. So we have small side, the middle leg, and we have the hypotenuse. All right, next thing I'm going to do is look at the medium triangle. Right here, what's the shortest side of this triangle that I'm tracing? What's the shortest side? Very good. So the shortest side is x. So watch what I'm going to do. Right here, I'm going to put x right there, which is the same as saying what? The square root of 114. That's what we put. What's our medium side? What's our medium distance? Nope. 19. Very good. 19. So I'm going to put the 19 right here. Okay. And then our longest side, which is the hypotenuse of the medium triangle, that's going to be z. So I'm going to put z right here. So here's z right there. All right, last but not least, let's look at the largest triangle right here, the largest triangle. What is my shortest side of the largest right triangle right here? Z. Okay, tell us here. What's the shortest side?
Y.
Because I'm asking you. I'm joking because it is the y value. Very good. All right. So right here, label this side y. What's my middle leg of this? Very good. Z. Z. Right here. And you're right. That distance right here is 25 right there. Okay? Now, one thing I didn't label right here that you guys should already know, you should know that if you have a right angle here, this one also has to be a right angle if this is straight up and down. Right, 90 plus 90 is 180. We know that has to be 90 and that has to be 90 degrees. Okay? All right, so let's look at these triangles right here. Look at the triangles. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to compare the small triangle to the large triangle. So what I'd like you to do on your paper or in your journal, put small triangle. We're going to compare that to the large triangle. So write this down. Small triangle to large triangle. I'll explain why we're doing it. Okay? We are going to look at two sides in the small triangle. We are going to compare the hypotenuse to the shortest side. So right now, what is the shortest, what is the hypotenuse in the small triangle? What's the hypotenuse? That's the hypotenuse. What's the shortest? The hypotenuse is the side that's a good question. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. So over here, the hypotenuse is going to be z. And over here, the hypotenuse is 45. So it's the side that's always across from the right angle. There we go. Yes, we're going to be doing that. Right? That's another way to do it. Right now, I'm showing you how to do it just through proportions. Okay? We're just, obviously you can use the Pythagorean theorem, but right now we're just going to say, just through proportions, you can solve things without even using the thought. All right, so what is the shortest side of this particular problem? What's the short side? 6. Okay, now go over here, compare. What's the hypotenuse over here? What's the hypotenuse in this triangle? 25. What's the shortest side in this triangle? Very good. So check this out. This is a proportion that we set up just comparing which two triangles? The small triangle to the large triangle, right. And we compared the what? The hypotenuse over the short equals the hypotenuse over the short. So that's why I'm labeling this. So what I'd like you to do right now is take this information, And let's cross multiply. We're going to take our cross products.
Y squared.
Okay, we're going to write y squared equals the product of what two numbers? 6 and what? 25. But yes, it's 150, but I'm not going to write 150. There's a reason why I'm not going to write 150, because we're going to find the exact answer, which means we have to take the square root of this side, and we have to take the square root of this side. And yes, while y is equal to the square root of 150,
It's easier to get the square root of 25.
right, that's why I'm not multiplying it together. Because if I wanted to simplify, what does 150 automatically break right back down to? A 6 and a 25, and a 25 breaks down to a 5 and a 5, which means what comes out? 5. And what stays inside the radical? 6. This is your exact answer. So if you would write exact answer. So everybody, 5 radical 6. If you would, take 5 radical 6 right up here for y and write down the answer 5 radical 6. And now we're going to find the approximate value. So go over here. You're going to say second x squared. By the way, you'll notice the square root of 150 is going to be the exact same as 5 radical 6. Do you see how those decimals are the exact same? This is what's called the unsimplified radical. This is what's called a simplified radical. And something you guys need to be aware of in your high school experience is you need to understand that this right here is not what? It is not simplified. This is unsimplified. This right here is considered to be simplified. Whereas this is your what? That's your approximate value. So put 12.2 as your approximate value right here. 12.2. Alright? So right now, the last thing we're going to do is now we found what? We found x, we found y, now we're going to find z, and we're going to use proportions to find z. We're not going to use the Pythagorean theorem, we're going to find it using proportions. So check this out. Let's look at these two triangles right here. We're going to look at z, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up the medium triangle in comparison to the large triangle. So I want you to go medium to large. So right now, I'm going to bring it right down here, and I'm going to write down in your journal, write medium triangle, and we're going to compare it to the large triangle. Now I'm going to show you which sides we are going to compare. In this one, we are actually going to compare the hypotenuse to the middle leg. I'm going to put mid for middle leg. So we're going to look at the hypotenuse to the middle and set it equal to the hypotenuse to the middle. So what is my hypotenuse in my medium triangle? What's my hypotenuse right now? Z, so I'll put Z. And what is my middle side? 19. And over here, what's my hypotenuse? 25. Very good. And what's my middle side over here? Z. See how we set it up? Notice, what have we been able to set up? Z times Z gives us what? Z squared. So right now we have our cross products. Z times Z is Z squared. 19 times 25. You're going to notice, I don't care what the product actually is of a 19 times a 25. Because what am I going to have to eventually do anyways? Simplify, right? I got to take the square root. I got to take the square root. And what is the square root of Z squared? Z. Okay, now watch. Right here, do you guys see this 25? We're going to break that down into a what? 5 and a 5, which means a 5 comes out. But what still stays inside of the radical? 19. This is your exact answer. Okay? This is your final exact answer right here for Z. So right up here, you're going to write 5 radical, 19 right up here, in your answer box. 5 radical, 19, and then we're going to find our approximate value. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to type in a 5 and a radical 19 and see what our approximate answer is. 21.8 to We had to round it to 9 there. So these are your 3 exact answers. These are your 3 approximate values. Okay? Now, these are your final answers. What I'm going to do next is I'm not going to solve the next problem, but I'm going to help you set it up into a small, a medium, and a large triangle on your paper. All right, here we go. Next problem right here. I'm going to break this down into a small right triangle, a medium right triangle, and a larger right triangle.
Pretty large.
There we go. We got small, we have medium, we have large. We're just going to label some things, okay? So, does everybody see the small right triangle right here? What's our shortest side?
2.
A 2. What's our medium side? 3. What's our longest side? Or our hypotenuse? 1. Okie dokie. So, now over here, let's look at the medium triangle. What's our shortest side in this medium triangle? 3 is right.
Oh, I was looking at the big one.
What's our middle side? X. All right, and I don't have anything for our longest side, so I'm just going to leave it blank. Okay. Now, over here in our largest triangle, what's my shortest side in our largest triangle?
Y.
Very good, so Y. Okay. And this is interesting. We don't have a middle side, right? We don't know anything. There's no X or Y or anything. But we do know the distance of Z. What is Z actually equal to? 2 plus X. So right here, put 2.
We don't even need to use that extra Z. We just use 2 plus X to make it simple.
Right, so we have 2 plus, sorry, but Z equals 2 plus X. Now, by the way, the very first thing, step number 1, I would like you guys to solve for X. Solve for X. Now, we're going to solve for X. What 2 sides can we compare right here that match up with this triangle right here in the middle? 2 and 3 match with what? 3 and X. All you have to do is do what? 2 over 3 equals 3 over X. You see how I set that up? 2 over 3 equals 3 over X. If you put your triangles side by side, it's so easy to set up the proportions. So when we cross multiply, you get 2 times X equals 3 times 3, which is 9. And what is X equal to? 4.5. Bam, you're done with X. That's awesome. Because if you're done with X, which is a 4.5, check this out. You just found Z. Because what is Z equal to? 2 plus X. So automatically, what's Z equal to?
6.5.
There you go. So that's a good start. Now all you have to do is find what?
6.5 times 3.
No. What letter do you have to solve for?
Y.
Because I'm asking you,